Introduction of Martina. Just a quick introduction for Martina. I'm very excited to have her here. I met her several months ago at our mastermind, the North Star Now, where she talked about her work, about how to scale and grow and things that SMEs or medium-sized organizations need to know as they move forward. So I want to share with you her background. She is someone who brings structure to chaos and turns overwhelmed founders into confident leaders. Martina is a fractional COO who helps scaling founders, online service providers build operational systems that work. With years of experience in leading operations for startups and agencies across Europe and Asia, she's known to have a practical approach. Today, Martina is going to walk through the key operational bottlenecks that keep founders stuck and show us how to fix and navigate them so that they're able to scale. So let's give a big warm welcome to Martina.
Thank you. Thank you, Nuri. Thank you so much. Hello, guys. It's amazing being here. Thank you so much for coming. And before we deep dive into the actual workshop, I would like to ask you if you can send us a message here on the Zoom, just a little bit about you. What's your business? How many employees do you have? So I kind of know what kind of audience is here, and I can, make a suggestion of like what you would like to hear as well. So if you can point us a quick message here, I'm just gonna say hi. So if you can send a message here about your business, what you do, and how many people you have in your business, that would be amazing. Thank you. And meanwhile, let's look about what we're gonna talk about today. As you probably saw on the invite for this webinar, we talking about operations that don't break. We're talking about how you as a CEO can be strategic and visionary CEO, not just being the bottleneck of the company. We're gonna talk about numbers and data, and we're gonna talk about some automations, and then we'll have space for questions. Okay, we have a first message for Sylvian, fractional digital transformation leader. Amazing. Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. Perfect. Thank you, Sylvian. Okay. So I want to start the webinar and make it kind of lesson learned. So I want to present you a company I worked with and what I saw the biggest issues were and what I see through my clients, and kind of we want to learn from other people's mistakes and learn from their wins. So this is what we're gonna talk about. I want to present you the case study so you guys have an overview how it looks like in different companies, what happened, and how you can make your own way and your own wins from those companies, right? So at the beginning, here we have one company called Dive, which were one of my important clients. I joined them when they were team of 30 people. And the reason why I chose this company as a case study is it was super, super messy. They were amazing company with amazing CEO. They were scaling fast. They had service which people wanted, but they just couldn't handle the growth and the actual back end of the company, right? So the main thing which happened, and it happens often, is that everything in the company is on the CEO's shoulder. And it makes sense because you built your company, you built your little baby, you grow in it, and everything is on you. But at one point, what gets you here won't get you there. And that's what happens a lot, right? So particularly with Type and this company, everything relied on the CEO. The clients, if there was issue, they would call to him. He did all the sales, all the marketing, all the client success, and managed 30 people. And there was no way this is a sustainable business model. And it happens a lot. So other thing, what we discovered when I joined the company, the mood in the company through the team members was kind of, I don't deal with issues, CEOs deals with issues. So the biggest pain point, and again, I see that often, is the team doesn't hold any responsibility and accountability for whatsoever. They know, like, I am not the boss will deal with it, not my thing. Right? So that's something we don't want in the company, and I'm going to talk about how to change this narrative. The other important thing which we're missing was no data. So if the company doesn't have data about money, about pricing, about time, about clients, it cannot work strategically, and you cannot make informed decisions without data. So we always want to pick up the data. And when you have team which is not responsible and accountable, clients are complaining. The lack of delivery surveys kind of goes down, and it comes down that clients started leaving because there was nobody in the company who would like give them the right solutions. Okay. So why I want you to present this is like a scarcity example of when the company grows into 30 people, it already should have had the process and the strategy. It should have happened before it started collapsing. So yeah, that would be the outcome. You should start building the sustainable business from the beginning, from the scratch. Okay, and so we did it within the DIPE. We built the process, the perfect team management, accountability. We collected data, we put together better pricing, and what happened? We grew from 30 employees to 100 employees within a year. So it was like super fast, amazing scale, and it needed a lot of work, which wouldn't be necessary if it was there to begin with. Okay, so let's go to the first topic, and it's the operations and what they actually are and why do we need them. And the big thing about operations and like what holds them together, it's clear SOPs, standard operational procedures. And so I wanted to ask if there is somebody in the audience who actually has the SOPs in the company already. And now I kind of get it. SOPs can sound corporate and a bit boring, but they are necessary, right? So let's talk about what SOPs actually are. And I want to give you an example, super easy to understand. It's, let's say you have a nanny, you have a family, you have babies, you have nanny, you hired nanny, and you basically want the nanny to do throughout the day multiple steps and have some outcome by the end of the day. So she needs to wake up at 8 in the morning. It's going to be in the SOPs. Wake up at 8, feed the baby with specific type of food, make sure the baby isn't hungry, or you need to change the diapers at, every 2 hours whatsoever. So basically, these simple SOPs for things which are happening within the company, you want to have them written down. And why is it also so important? It's that if you were to replace a people or hire new people, they exactly know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And this is how the standard operation procedure would tell us. I know many CEOs think they don't need them, that things are just being done and everybody knows. But it's really dangerous just to relate on your employees that they know, because sometimes what can happen is, let's say you have a Jack knows everything, and he doesn't show up in the morning at work because things happen to people. He may get sick, he may have family issues and he's gone. And I've seen that happening, and it's a big issue if a huge person who has a huge impact on your company suddenly can make it happen and you can't replace him because you don't actually know what he was doing and how he was doing it. So that's what I would like put in your mind, that the SOPs are actually important. They ensure that no one becomes a bottleneck or irreplaceable. That's a huge part, and they allow someone else to step in and execute the work if needed. And also, they reduce a lot of confusion during the training time and a lot of mistakes, right? If you have a single step-by-step solutions. Let's say you're a marketing agency, you hire a new marketeer and he knows when he deals with a client, he should take a call with him every week. He should ask him to give him ideas for the post and so on. It's like those little things, they feel silly, but they are really, really important. Okay, and together with SOPs, it's the big pain point, and it's the responsibilities. And I'm gonna keep coming back to them quite often because I see them as a huge issue within the businesses. Because people don't want to be responsible if they don't have to, right? It's better if you just go to work, do your thing and leave, and not everybody can handle the pressure of responsibility. But it's really important if you want to scale to make sure you have an accountable and responsible team. Otherwise, again, everything would be on your shoulders. So I have an example for you, which is like a scarcity. With Dive, we hired a senior project manager to take this huge project. So he took it. I went through with him on a call and I asked him, so how much money have we spent on the project yet? And he said, I don't know. Why should I know? It's not my responsibility. I'm like, well, you're the senior project manager, it's your responsibility. And he said, well, the CEO didn't tell me, it's my responsibility, I didn't know. So even such a little thing as, project manager is responsible for projects and he doesn't know, that's an example why you want to have those things agreed on and written down. And if you don't have it clearly until now, it's fine. Just make sure you do it as soon as possible. Talk to your team members, take them on the call and tell them, look, I just want to go through what your responsibilities are, how you feel comfortable being responsible for this or that, because they may not, and kind of go from there. And when I do this with my clients and when I talk to their team members, we often find out that the person doesn't really like doing a certain thing, so they want to do something different. And to create happy team, you kind of want to help them on their career journey and redirect them and take their hands and listen to them. So it actually really helps to clean up the air and even do it like every 6 months or every year with all the employees, making sure the role might develop, especially when you start up, when you're scaling. Just kind of talk to your people, change the responsibilities, change the things they are doing, and they'll be happy for it as well. Okay, and what is really closely related to responsibilities are the KPIs. And KPIs are kind of a tool how to keep the person responsible and making sure they actually execute, and they're accountable. With the nanny example, we can look and say, okay, your KPIs, dear nanny, and your responsibilities are that the kid is fed, it's not uncomfortable, and it has clean diapers, right? And if you're not gonna do this, that means you're not doing right the job we hired you for, and there's gonna be some kind of outcome from it. So, oh, sorry, I just saw a question here. I'm gonna go back to the questions later. Yeah, so that's basically what the reason why the KPIs are in a place is making sure that people actually will keep the accountability. And I know many founders are scared of it, especially if you have a small team. Yeah, you're friends with your team members, and everything's working great, and you kind of don't want to put the pressure on them in that way. But once you're gonna be scaling, it's a really important part of a business, and I've seen it's happening all over again. If it's not in a place, people are not accountable for a long time. They no, they can get away with things. So just keep that in mind. Another big thing which comes to growing your business is hiring, and I can't stress this enough. And it's choosing the right candidate. It's kind of tricky because many people, they see the CV, they talk to the candidate, and then find out that it's a great match, they like him, but they don't double check. They don't double check skills, and people don't double check reviews. And I've seen founders burn out on that one quite a lot, because they would hire somebody who is great, presenting their skills and great in communication and stuff, but it comes down what the skills actually are. So I saw people hiring a salesperson who couldn't write a sales email. Like, he literally couldn't write to the client. It was like so ridiculous. And if the company before would give him a test, okay, so there is a test, there is an example. Can you imagine we have this certain client, this is the issue, try to sell them this or whatever. You could actually see their skills and how they actually perform. So I always encourage you to test their computer skills, what kind of, computer skills they need to know, and whatever skills are important to the certain role, but double check it. And also, please double check reviews from previous employee, because they might be good at what they're doing, but they may not be a good person. And if you hire a bad person into your team, it can really mess up the whole atmosphere and the whole team. So I always double check with the previous employee as well. Okay, right. The other really important thing about operations is project management, because project management is a tool, or the project management system in general, it's a tool for you as a CEO to keep track of what's happening in your company, and if things are being delivered on time, if everybody knows what to do, how to do it, if the people, the task they do in the certain time. So let's say, your team doesn't do a task which takes 1 hour for 2 days. You kind of can keep track on that as well using project management systems. The one I recommend, I highly recommend Asana, but it can be pricey at the beginning, especially for startup, which may not have that much of money. So you can go with ClickUp at the beginning and, just start organizing things around a little. It really helps you to make sure that things are being done. And also, you don't have to text your team every time, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? Oh, you should send me this, did you? Because you can see it. You look into the project management system, there is a task and it's either done or it's not, and you don't have to keep messaging somebody back and forth. So if you don't have one in place yet, that's what I would highly recommend to do and go with. Okay, next topic, CEO as the visionary, not a bottleneck. I said it before, and it's important to realize that, okay, whatever I was doing until now, it may not work for me if I want to scale somewhere else. So there is a strategy or kind of like a mind idea, which I would recommend you to do every week. And it's something I call the weekly CEO rituals. And it's basically just for you to reflect on what's going on within you, because like you're the main important part of the company. So you want to make sure your life is like great, even your personal life, not just the business wise. And you want to reflect on your company. Where is it? What's happening? Where do you want to go? And how you're going to get there and take the actual steps. Because what happens a lot is the CEOs, they get stuck in the daily grind, in the, there is a fire I need to take care of, and there is another issue over there, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. And they kind of just do things, and they spend 10, 12 hours, weekends working, but things are actually not moving anywhere because they don't take time for the strategy thinking, right? So when we talk about what I would encourage you to do, it's start reflecting on you, yourself, what I hate or what I love doing. And when you start getting rid of the things you hate doing, and they can be little things like sending invoices, or I don't know, looking at my financials, like I don't like that, then I can't stress this enough, but it takes so much of your mental capacity, which you could focus somewhere else, and so much of your energy, even though it's just like 10-minute task, super easy, super fast. But in your mind, it's actually something, oh, I need to do this. I don't want to. Uh, oh, oh, okay. Sorry. Um, so yeah, just please focus on what you like doing and slowly delegate the things you don't, because even though it doesn't feel like a big deal, mentally in your brain it's actually a big deal. Okay. Also, what's great is to look at your team performance, and that's why you need the project management system to see, okay, is there any unclear ownership? Are there any missed deadlines? What's happening? Does my team have a capacity, or is somebody overwhelmed? It's too much, or somebody it's too little? Just kind of reflect on what's happening within your company. And it's super fast. If you do it in the past week, it's gonna take you 5 minutes. That's it. You just see it in the project management, and it makes so much of a difference, because then you can navigate the team management a little bit better. Part of the reflection, it's clients feedback and delivery. And basically, to scale the level of your surveys, it's by getting a feedback. So many entrepreneurs and businesses don't collect enough feedback from their customers once they sign them. So let's say you have a customer, he has got a 2-year contract or a year contract, and you deliver the service every month, and he's kind of happy, he's never complaining, or maybe just a little, things look great. But and you think it's okay. But if you actually go and ask them for feedback, really nicely, like, look, we wanna, work on our services. Is there anything from your point which you think we can improve? They're gonna give you actually like priceless, honest feedbacks, which you can go then and implement into the delivery service. And I've seen delivery changing and like scaling so much through those little pain points. Then when you then start hiring new clients, they are impressed like how everything works smoothly. So client feedback reflection, okay? And the last one, and the most important one, it's by the red color. strategic outreach, because that's the point when we get stuck in the business because we don't work on the strategy where we want to get there, and we don't actually take the necessary steps. And by the necessary steps, I mean you look for new partnerships, you go out networking, you focus on the stuff that grows the business, you focus on how to improve sales, how can you make this a little bit better, just focusing on the actual strategy and doing the strategy stuff. You should have booked in your calendar every week time for strategic outreach if you want to grow somehow, yeah, so I think that's about this. Moving to next topic, numbers, really important topic, and usually not the favorite part of many CEOs, because like different founders have different relationship with money. Some know how to manage them, some they know, and I know a lot of founders are flying blind, meaning they move fast, they know, they have money coming in, cash is flying in, but they may not know how much cash is actually flying out, and in their head they kind of don't want to know because they know it's too much and they would have to do something about it. I know it's kind of like funny and tricky, but it actually happens. So what you want to do and what you want to know is actually to have the data, to collect them, and to look at the numbers and clean them up a little bit, right? Because some CEOs are making decisions based on feeling, like, okay, this month it felt good, we have a lot of work, there is money in the account, like that's fine by me, I don't need to know more. But that's not sustainable for the business, is it? So we want to look into the data. By data, I mean including team time management. How much time the team spends on the client or on this specific task. Even looking at the things like, okay, how much time we spent on sales, how much time we spent on onboarding, how much time we spent on delivery. If you start collecting data and you actually see them, then you can strategize about, okay, how can we make this better? Because it actually cost us more money than we thought. You also want to know how much you pay for each tools you use, how much you pay for admin. It's all of the things are connected to pricing your actual delivery service. Because you don't only do delivery, you also do, admin, you also do marketing, you also do sales. So you kind of need to have all of the data. When I talked about Dive as the example, when I joined them, they did not have the data. And we realized by the time they had around 100 clients. And what happened when we started collecting the data, we find out that on many of those 100 clients, we are actually losing money, meaning that we actually pay more for the team members and for the tools than what clients pay to us. So that was like a huge wake-up call. It's like, okay, so now we need to talk to all of these clients and, talk about the pricing and about the delivery. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to point out. The other important part of the data and of the money is capacity. What often happens is when the clients are coming in, the revenue is growing, but quality drops. And why? Because the capacity was never measured. Nobody knew that Jessica can only take 3 clients instead of 5. And we thought if we're gonna ask her nicely, she's gonna work a little bit more and it's gonna be fine. But it's not going to be fine, because clients will feel it, and they will feel that there is a bit of like a chaos, there is not that much time for them. So when you are putting together the pricing and all of the data around money, that should also include capacity, knowing how many, time team members have. And you can do it easily. When you have a project management tool, you can track time in the project management tool. So your actual employees would track, okay, I spent this much time on this and on this and on that. And you would talk to them saying, okay, so your capacity is 8 hours every day, or do you want to do more? Do you want to do less? How, do you see yourself in the future? Like, can you give us more hours on less? And kind of talk to the people and know where you at and track their actual capacity. And also have in mind that if you're gonna hire a new person, you have more clients coming in, you need new person, it's gonna take you a month to make them to be like 100% valuable, at least 1 month. So you want to make sure that you have enough time to start the hiring process, which can take a month, and then train somebody for a month. So you need to start hiring at least 2 months before you're gonna run out of your capacity. Okay. Next topic is system automations. Comes back to time. Time is your most expensive currency, and yet most startup CEOs are losing it every single day. And why is that? Because you might be repeating the same instructions over and over again. Adam's gonna ask you how to do this, then Jessica's gonna ask you how to do the same thing, and then somebody else gonna ask you again, and you keep repeating yourself all over again. You might be doing manual task, manually sending onboarding emails, or even delivery emails, or you might be chasing invoicing by yourself. You might be double checking, as I told you, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? So these are the things you kind of want to get rid of, right? Because if you as a founder would take time, let's say every week during your reflection, thinking, okay, what have I repeated and how can I automate it? So maybe I don't need to be sending the invoices myself. Maybe I don't need to be taking care for these emails. Somebody else can do it, or I can automate it. So just, if you don't do this, just start looking into your daily task or daily stuff you come across with, if there is a way maybe AI could do it, maybe somebody else could do it. And when talking about AI, and AI comes to data. AI needs data. Without data, it doesn't work properly. And so nowadays, you have tools and you can take actions by the AI. So imagine you have an AI agent that sees a new client, let's say in Stripe. He sends an onboarding email and he assigns a Asana task to responsible person, and he notifies teams in Slack that there is a new client. Guys, be careful, do whatever you need to do. You basically don't need admin or yourself to do many things. If you start looking into AI and what they can actually do, you're gonna find out that many of the things you're doing can be managed differently. Okay. Okay, what do we have again? Don't overtool. That's also a big one, because there is so many tools today, and every month there is a new one, and people are talking about, oh, this new one is better than the old one, and you can overtool so easily and you can annoy your team so easily. Because honestly, nobody really loves to learn new things and to use new system because they just finished learning the last one. And it can get really overwhelming for you, for managing the data, for the team. So I would pick up few tools which you know they're great, you feel comfortable with them, and stick with them. It's important to try new things, of course. The new things are gonna come, but you can test them. You don't have to implement everything. It's like, oh, I've heard about this new amazing tool, let's put it into our company. You know, test it for a while, test it for a few weeks, see if you like it, and then go and implement it. Don't overtool your business and your teams. There are some, in the presentations, there are some tools I would recommend you to use, either for accounting, for automations, some AI tools which will help you. So you can have a look in the presentation. Okay, so that was it from the actual presentation. Before we gonna create a space for Q&A, I would like you to thank you for having me and for listening me talking there for such a long time. And also, I love to give away one free operational audit for you guys who are here today. So if you're interested in operational audit, please contact me on LinkedIn and we can talk, we can schedule a call and talk about it. It's 100% free. It's my thank you to you for coming and listening to all of this nonsense I had to say. Okay.
Thank you,
So-
Martina, for your presentation. I saw that there are a couple of questions that was already in the system, and it's coming from Sylvain. So let me read for you the first one. How putting structure is supporting or slowing down scalability at a startup stage? What is the threshold between a startup mid-market to see the real benefits from structure?
Mm-hmm. So how putting structure is supporting or slowing down? It's supporting you to be ready to scale, because usually what happens with startups, it's they're on a blind spot. It looks like nothing is happening, and suddenly they held the spot and they start kind of scaling, and they're often not ready for the scale, and it comes to CEOs burnout. So if the company isn't ready for the scale, it can collapse easily, not just by the CEO, but also by the level of delivery, you know, the client's happiness, your team overwhelmed. So without the structure, people get lost and the service isn't the same anymore. So that's why I feel it's really important, and it makes everybody lives so much easier, even yours, even your employees, even the clients. I'll give you another example for the structure which we created with Dive, and I think it's an amazing tip. What we did, we actually had a delivery project for the client in project management system. It was internal, but we shared it with the client and we told the client, look, we have this structure which is built personally for you about how our team is going to be managing your service. And we want to share it to you. Even though it's internal, we want to be really transparent and we want you to see what's happening when we are delivering the service. And I have to tell that all of the clients were like so happy and surprised that we kind of let them look into the internal things. They thought so 100%, but it was like, okay, 80%. But just having the structure, it, you know, brings so much value. I can't stress it enough.
And the next question that's there, I do want to just add to what Martina was saying, because before becoming oh, hi, Sylvan. Yeah, one second. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I was in corporate, as you saw in the first part of this presentation. And I'm really grateful for that experience because it taught me about SOPs. It taught me how to, put things together. But I think I cut my teeth a little bit more when I joined BNI, and I was surrounded by medium-sized founders, and they were also explaining to me how they operate, and then they can, address, audit, check in on themselves, go back and reflect on things. So I feel like in the last few years, probably like post-COVID, had to really learn to not be the bottleneck. So Sylvan wanted to say something. Are you able to speak into the mic, Sylvan?
Ye-
Because your camera's off.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Martina, for your presentation. Actually, I'm more okay. I'm coming from the large corporations, and now I'm focusing on the mid market, meaning really between 500 to 500 people to 1,500. Way bigger than scaling startups. However, what I found out is small organizations, startup organizations, requires a lot of flexibility. Yes, we need a minimum of structure, but we have to be very careful not to kill what makes a startup successful, meaning innovation, ability to move fast, ability to make mistakes, to learn from the mistakes. And whenever you start to put guardrails, you start to put an SOP, you start to formalize things, you freeze all of that. So that was the purpose of my question is, yes, to some extent, at one point of time, we need a bit of structure. We need to scale that structure so the organization can scale up. However, at the very beginning, at the early stages, it's maybe a bit counterproductive. And I was willing to get a bit of your feedback on that. I never worked really with startup. Oh, that's not really true, but that was many years ago. But I come from the large setup and definitely coming from the agility at scale, because that's my one of my specialty. That's what we're perceiving. We have to get a balance, compromise.
Yes, so I'm gonna give you examples what we do with the startups and how can you implement it with the larger companies. It comes also down to a company culture and how you talk to your people and how you give them an actual say in the company. And what we would also have as a part of KPIs, it would also be a positive things like, do you have a new idea? Please present it. Because especially in the bigger businesses and bigger startups, the founders and the management gets kind of blind because they delegated the things and they're not in the daily grind. So they still want to get the feedback on how to transform and how to do things better. So as a part of our KPIs, it would be actually bonuses for people. If you come up with an idea how to do things better, please present it. And I think that the same applies to corporations, but it's built on the trust with the actual management. So you have a team manager who manages 20 people. You want to build the same kind of feeling for the employees that they are also important and their opinions matter, so they feel comfortable coming to you and also telling you, look, this is you guys, your SOP, it's like BS, like that doesn't make any sense for us when we do it. So I think it comes down again to relationship and to creating a great culture when people feel heard and important, and they can help you to scale your company by feeling what they do actually matters. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm still not absolutely convinced that if you have an organization which is less than, let's say, 100 people, we have to leave the freedom of the organizations to find their own ways of working together without freezing that ways of working. The degree of liberty that you leave between the different areas of that organization, they will find a way to be efficient. And that's even why I would say startups are growing fast, is because I find ways, and they are very agile to adapt. Whatever comes to, whatever roadblocks come to their way, they find a way to go bypass it, and they continue. As soon as we start to scale, where we start to get divisions, or I would say departments within the organizations, we need a project management ways of delivering project, because otherwise it's too complex. We need a proper financial structure, as you explained, how to measure the revenue versus the spend. All of that becomes a bit of, we shift from being a startup mode mindset to being a bit more like, I follow the rule. And when I follow the rule, I get away of my ability to innovate, to be stupid, to make mistakes, to learn from that, and to be better afterwards.
Yeah, I hear you. I know it's an issue, but from my point of view, it's kind of like a pyramid. For how I look at it, it's your little departments can be the little startups doing their own thing, and you need to make sure that the management which you chose, it's the right management to help you achieve whatever your goal is, or to help you grow. You know, it's not going to be as fast as startup, of course, but you can make it faster by creating those little groups which they work together, they improve together, they give you feedback together, you know, because when you have a manager who comes to the CEO and he says, look, you came up with this thing is nonsense, like that's XYZ why we don't like it, and this is what we suggest, and the CEO says, okay, I think you're right, let's do it. That's a different dynamic than if you have a manager who is like, oh guys, you need to listen because I've been told that we need to do this and that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, yeah. I think it really, really is how people feel in their roles. Either their manager, either their CEO. The business is built on the people, and how fast the company is gonna grow and scale, it comes down to the people as well. That's basically, you know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
If I could add to it, we've launched around 40 tech companies in Thailand since the company got started in 2008. So two of the most famous in the market is Grab and Lala Move. And I find, yeah, working with startups, they're very exciting, and there's, you know, a lot of creative energies around. But yeah, we do have to put, you know, we found that when we work with them, because one of the things that we bring to the table as, you know, as the consultant, as the supporting agency, is like, we have to give it structure. For example, you know, when they first entered the market, Grab was going through a lot of different people. They didn't have the CMO yet. I think it was maybe almost 6 months after we were working directly with the launch director, who was one of the original founder. Her name is Nina. She was lovely to work with, but she was also very busy, you know, with many things. Like marketing was only one of her hats. So, and then she did get, you know, like an assistant to help her with that. But then sometimes the assistants would change, and then they go off and do a different role. And then I would lose the, you know, for example, we're working on a press release or organizing a press interview. I will work with this person, and then all of a sudden she's like, okay, I've now been shifted to a different department, and I have to start again from zero, right? So then what we found we needed to do was like just have a checklist each time, and just park everything in a Google Drive so that they knew exactly what happened from the last meeting. So I didn't always have to start from zero, because we often, as somebody who wants to be helpful to our clients, if we have to restart with, you know, with somebody from zero each time, we're just losing so much time as well. And, you know, we needed to start to create some structure for them to follow. Like, oh, here, this is where we are in the press release. You know, we need some quotes, we need some stats. And, you know, this is for the business section, or we'll have something more in the lifestyle section because it's relating to transport, or it's about, you know, helping moms and babies who don't have a personal vehicle. I know. Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I understand what you're saying, Sylvan, about like, is it gonna help or hinder, right? So, and I think you do have to give it some format and a way forward so that it helps everybody, right, to move the projects as well. So that's my 2 cents. There is another, hold on. Sylvan asked another question, Martina, and I'll do this as the last one because we're at 3:02. How does COO scope overlap into COS? So COO, Chief of Operation, into COS, Chief of Staff. At what level of scalability the two are needed from your perspective?
The companies I usually work with are the startups, which they don't have more than 100 employees, and they don't usually have a chief of staff. They have CEO or HR person, not like a chief of actual staff, like HR person, which kind of takes the role of the chief of staff. I previously worked in a corporation which had 600 people in it. So for me, I don't know, I'm not sure I'm the right person to really answer it. Like, what's the right, scalability level for those? I think it really depends on the structure which is built and how the company operates and how you navigate the employees. Because some companies, they may not need chief of staff until like, I don't know, 200, 300 people in there. They can just manage by simple HR manager. It's really hard for me to answer. I'm not that experienced in this matter with huge companies.
Yeah. So if it's worth anything, when we first started with Grab and Lala, I think they both had just secured their A series. And I think around the end of their B series, did they start to put in these other positions of CTO, COO, because they had got a guy who was a CTO from Facebook, from the region. They hired him, and I think that was around the time they were looking to move the Grab taxi into to rebranding to be fully Grab and then moving it over to Singapore. So I don't know how many employees that was, but I remember like we were doing the communications around it when after they got the B series and was looking in the funding round for the C series. So I think at that point they were probably something close to maybe 150 employees or starting to edge towards the 200. So. All right, Sky, can you help bring up the next event that we got with North Star now? Thank you everyone for all your questions. And if you have anything you want to direct to Martina directly, she can be reached on LinkedIn. So sorry, can we go to the poster where we have coming up next, Sky, where we are talking about the data one? Okay. This one is Decoded Decision. This is using the power of consumer insights, using data. This is in partnership with YouGov, who we work with, I think, I don't know, 8, 9 years now. We have them come on different projects to help out our clients as part of the launch and market entry, understanding the landscape or competitive research or also product market fit, those kinds of things. This is going to be on the 19th at the Atlas of Silk, and then we're not going to have anything in December. And then our first webinar in January is going to be about numerology with Shireen Cora, and she's going to talk about making 2026 your best year yet with numerology insight. So I always like to have a little bit of a prediction, and she's going to have you guys do some of your own calculations so you know what is your life path and what does it mean for you in the year of 2026. So stay tuned for the date and the time. We're waiting for confirmation from our speaker. Bye, Sylvan. for this upcoming webinar. Thanks again for coming by, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you so much.